All right, folks. Hey, this is Lawrence with a special edition of Fellowship of the Father, and want to come to you this morning as a follow-up of what happened yesterday. So, what happened yesterday is a fellow named Charlie Kirk, who is an influencer. He was a conservative speaker, and he actually passed away yesterday, and he was actually assassinated in in public at a very huge rally. It was very similar to the rally that President Trump was shot at, and so I want to discuss that. And what I'm guessing is I may release this a couple days out. I haven't decided yet, but just to give it a little time for people to process and not to jump into it and try to get in the pool of people, quote unquote, monopolizing on the event. But just because people are willing to do that doesn't mean that truth and important topics just go away and they shouldn't be discussed. So, isn't that what this one of the messages we can take away from this event is that you can't silence the truth, right? So that's one way of looking at it. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So Charlie Kirk, what does he do? He develops himself to a certain time in place where he decides he's going to step out and make some bold moves, and he develops his own company, and that company is going to go ahead and start fighting for the freedoms of Americans to speak freely and let our voices be heard. So I just got done doing a video called The Voice, and I mixed it yesterday, but I actually did it a while back. I did the editing yesterday, and it's weird how things just all sync out. This is the point being, I'm the voice calling out in the wilderness. I'm the one calling out in the desert. So like when things are rough, I am the voice, right? So that's kind of the concept of that video. And hold on, let's get this thing fixed. This is a kind of a makeshift setup today. So anyway, so that's the point of that video, and that's the point of Charlie Kirk. He's the one that's acknowledging the fact that we're living in a bit of a desert right now. We're living in a moral desert. And so if I had to think of one biblical principle to explain what Charlie Kirk was about, it would be about the rebuke. The rebuke, right? So think about what is a rebuke. A rebuke is designed to help people see the error of their ways and turn to God and start doing the right thing again. So if you are in a fellowship of believers, the way that the rebuke would be used was, you folks are living in sin. You need to repent. You need to come back to the Lord. You need to come back to the Father, right? And that's the way rebukes work. And when a man tells another man he's being weak and he's being pathetic and he's doing things that he shouldn't do, then the rebuke kicks in, and that man is instantly brought to this fork in the road. There's a fork in the road. You can go this way or you could go that way. But at very least, you've been brought to this realization, this fork in the road. What are you going to do? And that's about where we are in America right now. We're in a fork in the road where we're deciding if we're going to live in upside downville or if we're going to flip things right side up again. So if you see some of my past videos as well, we discuss things like the coming of a new age. And it could be that there's a new age on the way, and that could be that new age is going to entail an entirely different a way of thinking that we have never experienced and we're not clear about. So think about, the Bible says, in a blink of an eye, we'll all be transformed, right? So maybe our brains will be connected, and then we can sort out the mess of I believe this and I believe that. I don't know how that's going to look. What I do know is in this current situation that we're stuck in our meat suits, right? We know how to live a fairly reasonable existence. We know how to live a fairly fair existence. It doesn't mean that everything's fair. It doesn't mean that everything's right yet. What it does mean is we can live in a sane way, in a healthy way, where most people get what they want most of the time. And the flip side of that is we can also go down a road where we are all just so special and so amazing that we all get what we want all the time. And all the rules go out the window except for the one rule that someone can develop a rule. Where one thing we don't want to be is organized. One thing we don't want to have is self-control. One thing we don't want to have is someone telling me what I can do and what I can't do. We don't want to do that thing. We want to be free. Unfortunately, our freedom that we want so badly comes at a cost, and the cost is absolute madness, right? Absolute chaos. So you think about what happened yesterday. It was basically, and the way I would quantify that is because some people are rubbed the wrong way by Charlie Kirk. I look at it like, whoa, you better be careful there. But some people think that he's expressing hate speech for saying a lot of common sense things. Like a child probably isn't the best person to ask about their own destinies. Like, what do you want to be? A fireman? That's great. What do you want to be, Johnny? I want to be a girl. Oh, that's great too. Yeah, you could be anything you want to be. It's like that's where the dad should step in. It's like, Johnny, get it together, Johnny. Right? And even that, to some people, is hate speech. Common sense has become hate speech. So where does Charlie Kirk go step over the line? In his rebukes, right? So like there'll be times where someone starts talking sharply to him, which is a form of rebuke. In that person's mind, he's wrong, and they're going to shove their concept down his throat. People should be able to do whatever they want, wherever they want, with whoever they want, to whoever they want, at any given time, and who are you to say different? So he comes back with a rebuke of his own. This has been established. There is order. The reason for this order is to avoid an enormous amount of chaos. And this has been established by the Father, who is in heaven, who is in the highest place. He is the Most High. Why won't you listen to the Father? And that is where we are in society, folks. We don't listen to the Father anymore. We listen to the Mother, which is a bit like eating chocolate cake all the time. It may taste good. It may be the best tasting thing in the kitchen, but it's not the best thing to eat all the time. It's not the best thing to consume. When you're consuming, feel good, feel good, feel good, feel good. You don't make any mistakes. You don't make any mistakes. It's like you begin to believe that, and your soul begins to rot, much like your teeth, right? Anyway, let's move on to some other things. So the Bible will make some equations about what do words mean. So, for instance, Messiah is God with us, basically, or and I'll post them. At my age, I make a lot of mistakes, so please forgive me if I step over the line. I will correct my over the lineness per the text on the screen. But words mean things. So when you ask a Jew that might believe in Jesus or know the story of Jesus, they don't call him Jesus. They call him Yosef, Yahshua ben Yosef, Joshua, son of Joseph, right? Those words mean something, right? They're not just willy-nilly words, especially in the Hebrew language. They take very seriously the meaning of words and their origins. And so we're going to run some of those words today as well. So let's go ahead and run Charlie Kirk, his name. And I have videos. I had no idea this was coming down the pike there, but I have videos that would profess that I know the words like Kirk. Okay, so the word Kirk means church, or the word church means Kirk, and the word Kirk, when you think of the word Kirk, think of the word church. Think of the first word in his name, which would be Charlie, and that would mean, what is Charlie? Charlie is free man or free people, and the free people's probably the upgraded version. Probably never meant that, but now it means it, something like that. And it also generates from the word Charlemagne. And let's look up the word Charlemagne. Great. So basically, great man. So great man church died yesterday. Great man church died yesterday. And I could get into his middle name, but that's for another Oprah, I think. We're not going to be talking about that right now. But so then, what's left behind? What kind of legacy is he leaving behind? So obviously, by killing him, he's become a martyr. So as far as people that are celebrating that he's dead, that's weird, because now we know from history that when you killed Jesus, you made him a martyr to a bigger movement, and it actually empowered him even in his death. So let's look at his legacy that he's leaving behind. And so one thing that Trump posted, and it's kind of odd, is like when you look up the death of Charlie Kirk, the first thing that comes up is that Trump announced his death. It's like, what does that mean? Trump announced his death. Okay. So then he says in his announcement, we'll miss him, this, that, and the other. And that his wife, Erica, will miss him as well. So let's look up his wife's name, Erica. And Erica means eternal ruler, ever power. So what does he leave behind? The eternal power of the church. That's what his legacy is, the eternal power of the church. So guys, I don't want to waste too much of your time here, but I want you to, I am encouraging you to think a little bit different about the way you look at the Bible, the way you look at reality, the symbology behind it all. God sets up these symbologies, and he sets up reality with symbolism. And so this is what happened yesterday. We lost this manly figure, this powerful man, and now his legacy is the eternal man, or the eternal church. That's what happened. That's the symbology behind it from my vantage point one day later. Let's see how this transpires, and let's see how it goes. I have another prediction coming up, but I won't release that until later based on the facts and what's in front of us. But let's see how this thing transpires. I would also, once we find out who the shooter is, we can run his name and see what all of that means as well. But anyway, this is Lords with Fellowship of the Father, with this special edition of Fellowship of the Father. I hope you enjoyed it. It's kind of hard to enjoy things when there's such a dark gray fog over the day after such a weird day yesterday. It was just a terrible day. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this edition of Fellowship of the Father. And if you did, like, share, and subscribe, and share it with your friends, and leave a comment if you want. And if you have any questions, I can also answer those as well in the comment section. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.